Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Diana. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new and just coming across this channel, you may just because of the tags. It's definitely a different type of video. Or if you've seen some of my recent videos and can relate and you're coming across this, thanks. Hello. I definitely don't do this YouTube thing for like monetary gain or anything like that. It's more or less of a way for me to, it's kind of like therapy. I do speak to a therapist. Um, However, sometimes I just need to get what I need to get out and not necessarily need feedback. I just need to kind of vent, which I blog, and not all the time do I publish them because there are times that they're not really appropriate or necessary to put out there. They're not beneficial to anyone, and I try to do these sort of things in hopes that someone can relate to, even if it's one thing. I didn't listen to my mom for much, but growing up. However, my mom would always say, because I was a bad teen in my later teen years, which stinks because it kind of pushed me further back in life, but that's neither here nor there. God has a plan for me, and it's going how it's going. But my mom would always say, even if you took one thing away, bad experience, good experience, whatever it is, even if you took one thing away, learned one thing, then it wasn't all a waste. And as an adult, now I get it. I used to be like, whatever. Like, yeah, okay. I know what I need to do. And, but now I get it. And so a lot of times I will come on here and do life updates because I know that I'm not the only one by any means. There's millions of people that have gone through or are going through or will go through some of the things that I've been through or are going through. And if I can give my input or my results by making certain changes or taking certain steps to maybe remedy some of the things, that we all make mistakes in life. Some affect your life for a lot longer than you anticipate. So even if I just resonate in that regard with one person, then it wasn't all a waste. And if people just come on here just to be nosy and see what I'm doing or to support, there are, some women that come on here just to clearly support me, and I really appreciate that. I have been in not a good mental space the past, not the past week, but more last week, right? More towards the end of last week. I physically wasn't feeling well, and it's been coming and going. My stomach is just not well, right? So I have some gut health issues that I need to take care of, I guess. Probiotics just isn't cutting it. A certain diet just isn't cutting it. Something is clearly going on. So I need to see my doctor and I guess get a referral to a gastro, right? And I'm like a little nervous because I don't want to go through the battery of tests. I hate going through blood work. I'll do it. I really don't want to have to go through an MRI, but I'll do it. I was kind of hoping that I could kind of figure it out on my own, eliminate this, eliminate that, but it's not working that way. I thought it was dairy, so now I don't have, certain dairy products. I thought it might be this, and I thought it might be that, and it's just not working. So the bottom line is I need to go see a doctor, and I'm a little bit fearful. Number one, I'm scared that there might be something that is going on. And I just don't want to have to go through all those tests, but that's part of life, it's part of life. So it was getting me frustrated, right? And then Friday, I had been out in the cold, and I had a heavy sweatshirt on, but I had like these light sweatpants. And I guess from shivering so much, the tops of my legs, literally from your muscles contracting, it didn't hit me till like Sunday morning. I literally went to use the ladies' room just to sit down and pee. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't sit down. Whoa. You would have thought that I was doing squats straight through the night. Like, it just hit me. I'm like, oh my God, what's that about? So I looked it up, like, what would and I looked up with the cold, and it clearly explains that the contraction of the muscles, and I'm like, oh my God, and I still have it. It's Tuesday. It's not nearly as bad. I try to, like, massage the tops, just the tops of my legs. I was even like bouncing up and down to try to stay warm and covering my mouth, because me breathing in cold air for an extended period of time, I'm bronchial, that will take me out for a week. So I was more concerned with that. And I'm like, oh no, like, what am I going to do? But whatever. So that Sunday was kind of like my breaking point. I'm like, all week my stomach has been on and off, not feeling good. Then my upstairs toilet, the valve broke. And of course, we're in a rush because we're going to see the Italian and El Salvadorian soccer game. And, it was a drive away. It's in Jersey. And, but I needed that toilet fix. So I'm like, I was kind of like topped off, right? Just done. I was frustrated and done. Like, this wasn't working. That wasn't working. My legs are hurting. I got to worry about what I got to do with this doctor. And it was kind of just like, there was like a laundry list of things. And I'm like, and I hate to be, I'm never one to complain. I'm never, ever one to complain. You will never on a daily hear me say, oh, my head, or, oh, I had such a hard day, or, oh, this one said that at work. I don't do that. I truly don't. I am very diligent because my mother does that. My mother does that. And I say to myself, woman, you have a beautiful home that you own all alone. You worked and got a pension. You did what you had to do in life. Granted, she messed it up a little bit by becoming an alcoholic later in life. I'm the one that also had to bear the brunt of all of that. I had to stop my life for 2 years because I'm the only one that she has to take care of her. And don't get me wrong, I'm her daughter. You do what you have to do. But those are all things that could have been prevented, right? And I'm just thinking, wow, like, what is she complaining about? She does a part-time job because she likes to, she likes to spend, and she doesn't want to go through all her money, and I get it. And she's not, she retired young because she was sick. She had no choice but to retire. She's going to be 62 in the summer. I mean, right now in this economy, they tell you if you're 65 and your ass can walk, then you best not retire because Social Security ain't cutting it. And let's face it, these jobs, when was the last time you really heard a job, unless it was a civil service job, giving you a pension? That's obsolete. Basically, we're in a government now that you work until you drop. That's how it is. They want you broke. They want you poor. They want you living off the government. That's just the way it is. So I listen to her go off and off. And some of the things that she says, it's like, I want to do this to the bathroom, and I'm not going to put out all my mother's business, but the point is a lot of it is so unnecessary. And I'm thinking, I don't ever get to just say, I had to go to the courts and all alone take care of this. Triumph was on my side. But yet and still, I had to go through all that anxiety, go through and do all the paperwork, hustle back and forth from very far away. The anxiety was unreal, being in front of a judge, going up against a district attorney, for something I did 14 years ago, and no lawyer because it really was unnecessary, but still, I could have used a lawyer. I just think it came better for myself, and I won, and I accomplished. If you look in the statistics of what I did, I'm not going to get into depth, but it almost never happens, if it's ever happened. So that's something I should be riding a wave right now. I should be like, but I almost can't, because sometimes when I'm around said person, it gets taken away from me because a lot of things are always about them. And, it's unfair. So there'll be times that I pick up the pen, pick up the phone, go in my notes app. Sometimes I'll just talk into it and just spew. And maybe to give you a bit of an example and a little tea of, sometimes how I feel. And don't get me wrong, this is my mother. I love her. But we all get angry with the people we love. And we all sometimes don't agree with, remember, just understand this. I don't have any siblings. My mother technically doesn't have any siblings, okay? She has no family. And my sister had to leave the state. She had to go back to North Carolina. We didn't grow up together. We share the same father. But as far as my mother, I have no siblings, right? So I didn't grow up with anybody. I have nobody to really say, look, Mom's driving me crazy. My father has passed. It's just me and my man. And he's working and busting ass at 2 jobs and taking care of his parents. They both have been unwell, and thank God everything has worked out and they are healthy and good. But for a while, he was bearing the brunt, and he's got siblings. He's got an older brother. He's got an older sister. But, he's the closest, so, everybody goes through something, right? But a lot of it's on me if something is to happen to her, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with for right now. I can't say that's going to be for the rest of my life. I might need some help because I might have, children that I need to tend to first. And the career that I chose is not going to be a clock in, clock out type of deal. The career I chose is to try to help people like me not stay stuck in a stagnant place for too long, especially when it comes to mental illness, addiction, trauma, things that have happened to you. I tend to stay stuck in resentment for things that have happened to me. And then that gets you a whole load of nowhere, right? So let's just get back to what I wanted to share before this video was like a half hour. So a lot of times my mom will just come, she'll text me she'll come at me with like 80 million things that sometimes are like 6 months away, right? She came at me with Easter. Now, this is 2 weeks ago. Easter, my birthday, her birthday, Mother's Day. Her birthday's in August. Mother's Day's in May. Easter wasn't for another 2 weeks. My birthday's not till close to the end of next month. And she was just rattling. I'm just like, I'm like, what am I reading? Like, whoa. And I'm thinking to myself, we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. Like, chill. You of all people who work these steps in the room should know that, what is that noise? That you have to stay in the here and now. My mother is like 10 steps ahead for no reason. She's got a gazillion things that she puts on her mind, and then she wants to put it on my mind. And I already have my own life, and I just feel like sometimes it's always all about her, and she forgets, maybe my daughter just needs some, you know, time to not worry about. She doesn't pick and choose like what's really. She doesn't prioritize what's really something to talk about right then and there, and what can wait. She used the excuse, I didn't want you to get me anything for Easter. Okay. That's always been a topic of conversation every year. We always say skip Easter if it's too cold, and I will get you your plants for Mother's Day. That's always been a thing. And that's it. And it's my birthday, I'll let you know. I might not want to celebrate. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Mother's Day is months away. Like, slow down. So I'm going to read you something that I just literally picked up my phone and was like, I don't even know if it makes any sense. I didn't even read it back. I just spew it out, and then that's it. I let it go. So, this also is on the heels of Nick and I having a conversation, because I told him, and I never tell him when I'm mentally done. I said to him, look, I gotta get myself in check, okay? I'm snapping. I said to him, I'm snapping. The toilet was over the edge for me. Something as small as that. And it's never really about the toilet. It just was like, okay, I'm done. Like, enough is enough. Too many things are happening all at once. And, here we go again. I can't get a consistent break of just peacefulness. So whatever she may have said to me, obviously this is how I felt. And anytime I need something to get motivation up, to get my motivation up, my mental health up, and I, out of respect and courtesy of my mother and her home, when I'm at her home, which she says, but this is always your home. This will always be your home. Not even a little. I never feel like what. That's just another story. So I guess I put that in here, and my mother and here home, in parentheses, not home, not my home even a little. That only comes into play when she needs or wants my opinion, not on a decoration, wants my opinion on a decoration or something. Quote, not that if I disagree, it would make any difference anyway. I assume it's her way to make herself feel better that she includes me. I don't know how authentic it is. But just as an example, I had a little bit of a mental crack this past Sunday. I went to bed with pains in my stomach, up all night. Now, my upstairs toilet was making noise all week. And oddly enough, I guess I was the only one hearing it. So I wake up already. I woke up already in a bad mood. I not in a bad mood, like I felt down, right? I knew Nick had, he was going to be away for an extended period of time for his job. Which is only, like 4 days, but it's the point. For whatever reason, when Nick and I are together, I am like Superwoman. I have motivation. I get things done. When we're together, things are a lot different for me. The energy is just a lot different. So, I had woke up kind of like, like this is the last day and whatever. I had just down, And then, of course, the upstairs toilet had completely broken down. And it's also not been the first or second time that I have mentioned and offered to call someone, pay someone, or fix it myself, because it was just this particular part. And there was always an excuse, whatever. Meanwhile, she will want us to do all types of things to her house but never do what's really important. And it's like, you're telling me that you want to redo your downstairs bathroom because you're worried about when I may want to resell it, the resale value would be better if it was fully redone, because it was partially redone. I'm looking at it right now. It was partially redone. And you can't not, she wants like the whole floor shower thing, but you can't not have a tub. Not unless you have multiple bathrooms and one of them's got a tub. Because I know if I was going to purchase the home, I would be saying, where am I gonna clean my kids? In the sink? Yeah, maybe when they're an infant. Everybody needs a bathtub. It's just a selling point. So the real issue is that she is more concerned with what she needs and what's going to get, and what she's going to get, what she wants. And a lot of that is in regards to money, vacation, and what am I entitled to? And that all stems from this entitlement attitude. My mother absolutely has an entitlement attitude, and I will give her this. My mother worked for 39 point something years, so let's just round it up. 40 years in a psychiatric hospital. She seen some shit. And she didn't just do her 8 hours. There were weeks where she would do her 40 hours and then do at least a minimal of 3 overtime shifts, So, and my stepfather was doing sometimes 72 to 80 hour weeks, he just was a moneymaker, and that's just how they were. He taught her how to do it, how to put money here, put money there, whatever the case may be. They are no longer together, but my mother did work as a civil service. She was a home health aide and a certified nurse assistant. Then she became a mental health therapy aide, and she just stuck with it. The pay wasn't the greatest. However, you get everything else. You get the benefits, the health benefits, which are very costly. So you have to say, okay, either I would pay that out of pocket, or it's going to go in my paycheck and I got to pay it out of pocket. You know what I mean? So the pension, the retirement, all of that adds up. You know what I mean? So you're making good money, but the hourly salary that you technically are cashing when you bring home your check and it's biweekly, of course, it's not like, whoa, but you have everything set up for you. When you retire, you're good. And the more hours you make, the more your retirement's going to be. So, my mother was like the last of the Mohicans with that, because I don't know if state jobs still offer that, but they were very popular at when she was 18. My mother was making very good money doing home health aid. She was making, at that time, if my mother was born in 62, so let's say right in the beginning of the 80s, let's say 1980, my mother was making $17 an hour doing home health aid. And she could do 3 days and make what she was making in Pilgrim for 2 weeks. Pilgrim is the hospital that she worked at, Pilgrim State Psychiatric Center. That's crazy. But my grandmother said, quit, and you're going to work at Pilgrim. Trust me, you will thank me. And she always listened to her mom, and her mother was right. It paid off. She now is, she's comfortable. You know what I mean? So shit, if you could be comfortable in this stage of the game with this government, whoa. But my point, that's neither here nor there. My point being is that my mother was always like this self-entitled attitude. Like, I've done this and I've done that. And unless you're doing what she's doing for how long she's doing it, it's like, it comes off like you're less than. She works now in retail, right? Now that's all I've ever done since I'm a kid. That shit is hard. Retail is hard. Service industry is hard. I've been a bartender. I've been a waitress. Both hard jobs. I think a waitress and a bartender, though, is easier than being a cashier. Because you can walk away, you can kind of like laugh it off, flirt it off, whatever it may be. Whereas a cashier, you're stuck at that station and you got to see it through and listen to those people talking to you like you're less than, like they know something. And I get it. But what I don't get is that knowing that that's what I've done since I'm 14, right? Because that's what all kids do. They get a job at, like, wherever, Petco or whatever the hell. And you would think that she would say, my daughter's been doing this on and off all her life since she could work. No wonder why she doesn't want to do it anymore. No wonder why I said, I've got to find other opportunities. I'm way more knowledgeable than this. So I decided to go to school. And then I went to school again. I have better skills. I'm better than, and I'm not better than the job. I have better and more to offer, is what I'm saying. And working those jobs, if you have no choice, you have no choice. You got to eat. You got to put food on the table. If I had family, if I had, kids I had to support, that I couldn't afford to support, I'd be out there getting a second job, flipping burgers. You do what you have to do, right? So she took this job thinking it would be an easy little thing. And then I say to myself, it is easy for you. Because my mom kind of gets to go in there and do what she wants. She gets to tinker around and do throwbacks, right? So if something was left someplace and now it's, defrosted, or if there's cereal boxes that got to go back, whatever the case may be, there's a cart of stuff and she walks around and puts it away. She covers people's breaks. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, she's on a register, and then she's done. She'll do the next one. And then she does 5 hours. She gets to, which she made like on her own, she gets to punch in early so she can punch out early. That, I've never had a job that's been like that. That's never happened. She gets overrides. She gets to say, you know what? I'm not going to come in Monday. I'm going to come in Wednesday. So can you switch that to her, And I'm like, wow, I've never had that experience. You should be grateful. I don't think you realize how hard it is out there. Jobs aren't like that. I don't know, I don't know what she thought, but jobs are not like that. And retail and the service industry can eat you alive. It can totally drain you. Which is why I could never do that for my life. First of all, I would never ever be able to make it in life. I'd have to have 3 of those jobs at this rate. And it's silly. So it's just not where I want to be in life. If I had no choice, that's a whole nother story. So my thing is, it's not like I haven't been there and done things, and the things that she's been through, I've been through. Just like the things that I've been through, and she would say, you put me through hell. Right, but I am the daughter, and I was the daughter and the child at the time. You're the mother. So yes, kids put their parents through hell at times. It's not an excuse, but it's not an uncommon thing. And yeah, people grow up with horrible parents. I by no means am sitting here and saying that I ever wanted for things, that I was ever abused by my parents. Never, ever, 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 ever. I was overly protected by my father. My mother was not around because she had to hold down the fort and make the money, and that affected me, but what was she going to do? So, this is just what it is. And so at any rate, I even write, like, we've been living here, that's neither here nor there. The real issue is that she is more concerned with what she needs and what she's going to get and what she wants. And a lot of that is in regards to money, vacation, and what I'm entitled to. And that all stems from, again, the entitlement attitude that she has had her entire life, way before her surgery, way before her alcoholism. And I'll touch on that real quick. She had a procedure for weight loss, and then right after that came alcoholism. It's a common thing. You could Google it. I'm not going to speak on it. Which, by the way, that stopped her 2 years ago. So the alcoholism, which, by the way, that stopped up to 2 years of my life, just dead stopped up to 2 years of my life, which was kind of like the prime years of my life. You know, I was like 31, 32. You know, like, I had a great boyfriend, I was doing well, and I should have been kind of moving along. And then, boom, you know, my mother had a horrible boyfriend, and she's one big party, and I don't even know how she kept that job. I don't know how she didn't end up dead, or someone else end up dead. She got very lucky. And I think I get a little resentful about that too, because I didn't get lucky like that. I didn't get those breaks. If Diana drove without a license, when I was 16, I drove without a license. I had just a permit. I was with my boyfriend and a friend of mine. I literally had maybe 3/4 of one beer and a half of a shot of whiskey, which was horrendous. Then about 20 minutes, half hour later, my boyfriend gets pulled over, who has no license, aggravated no licenses. You know, he had his share of troubles. So, it's pouring rain. By the grace of God, he gives him tickets and says, "What are you doing with these girls? Get them home." So, he let him go to get us home. And of course, we didn't want to go home. And I was like, "Look, I'll drive." Not realizing that the headlight was out. So here I am driving, and what do you know? Within like 15 minutes, boom, we get pulled over. And now I pull in a gas station and I try to act like I'm not getting pulled over. And he's like, "Excuse me, miss." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "Get back in the vehicle." And I'm like, oh my God. So he says, "Do you have a license?" I said, "I don't have one of those. I have a permit." Show me the permit, da-da-da. Long story short, he goes, I do field sobriety tests, because he asked me if I was drinking. I didn't lie. I said I had like half a beer, maybe an hour ago. So he does the field sobriety test, which I passed, right? But it's 0 tolerance for my age. I'm 16. So the last step was put your hands behind your head. And there I am getting arrested for driving with ability impaired. Had I been 21, he would have had to say, "Here's a headlight ticket, be on your way." So to try to help my boyfriend from not getting arrested, I made the conscious decision thinking, well, I won't drink anymore. I'm, by the law, not drunk. And, I'll get us, I'll take her home and I'll go back to my house. And no, God's seen a different way. So I see my mom, who had gotten away with a lot. And I feel like, damn, she never had to pay. I had to pay so much, I had to pay the ultimate price for every mistake that I made. It was like, wow, I can't even sneeze and fart while I'm driving. God forbid. I just felt so targeted, because I also was with a guy who was very known by the police, and it was used against me, you know? I had gotten a new boyfriend years later, and they looked down and they looked at me and they're like, so how's so-and-so? And I'm like, I don't know. This is my new boyfriend for like the last 3 years. I have no idea. And they actually have the nerve and the audacity and the disrespect to look at my new boyfriend and say, be careful with her. And I'm like, oh my God. Imagine how that feels. Like I'm some piece of trash. I wanted to say to him, you have no idea what I'm about. Let's go to my home and take a look at my home. And let me show you where I come from, because I guarantee you it's not no filthy pigsty that you live in. That's sometimes what I feel like, is people think they're better than, and then when you really go and see what they're all about, they ain't about nothing. And from a cop, as an ethical standpoint, as a professional standpoint, that was 100% uncalled for. 100%. And there was nothing I could do. I had to eat it. I had to completely eat it. And of course, did it cause confrontation? No, but it caused a little bit of a questionnaire from my new boyfriend, like, wow, how come this? And is that like, what, you know? He looked at me like, wow, you know? And I've always been 150% honest with every single person that I have chosen or they have chosen to start a relationship with me. I have been so transparent, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I am like completely see-through. You know all my business because I want nothing to come up. I want you to be able to have nothing to throw on me. This is what it is. You're going to take it or hit the bricks. This way we can get it out of the way. So, like I said, I had to put, and Nick was in my life at this time, and she had a horrible boyfriend that managed to wiggle his way into her home and then become a resident by way of changing his license to my address. So even calling the cops didn't help, because they said, his ID says, you got to let him stay. You got to do a proper eviction. She's in the hospital dying. And it was all up to me to get this man out of here because he had a drug and alcohol problem. And I knew I had to get him out of here in case they let her out, which wasn't going to happen. And I had to get him blackballed from the hospital so he couldn't visit her. It was a lot on me. I was driving from Manhattan back to Eastern Long Island at that time. It was just a lot. So, I dealt with all of that. Even when she, lost weight, she would sometimes compare the two of us and put me on the scale and her on the scale. And, who does that? Those are things I'll never forget. They make you feel a certain way about yourself. And I don't think my mother ever does things intentionally to hurt you. And that's my point, is that she doesn't do things, she doesn't do things intentionally to hurt you. She's just so up her own butt that she can't see past herself, that's all that matters, is what she's doing and what she's looking for and got going on. And I don't operate that way. I'm a lot like my father. I am a people pleaser. I'm a sometimes a lack of boundary setter. I'm not a no person. I'm not a no person. I'm a yes person. And I have to work on that, because those things are going to come into effect in my personal career. I have to learn how to set boundaries. I was just saying this the other day, that I really need to work on boundary setting, because when I come and when the time comes where I have my own clients, my own caseload, that's my dryer, guys. I talk loud enough, you should be able to hear me. When I have my own caseload, I'm going to have to really take it from a professional standpoint and put aside my, personal feelings or, sympathy and all of that. I can't really treat them with, kid gloves. Oh, sorry, guys, I'm just a mess here. I want to smoke a cigarette. Bottom line is I got to learn how to set boundaries. Otherwise, they'll walk all over me. We won't get any work done, and my job will not be getting done properly. And I am there to help people, to guide people, to advocate for people, to get people ahead. And so I know I need to work on that, And as for my mom, I mean, the list goes on, but she's my mother and I love her. But I do have to learn how to sometimes tune things out, not let it get to me. And that's a me thing. There are things in my life that have, that should have been accomplished a long time ago that weren't. Some things that are taking longer than I would like. And I'm angry at myself, and I do take it out. And it's normal to take it out on those around you. So if Nick is around, if my mom is around, that's who sees the brunt of it. That's who's getting the brunt of it. Although, I gotta be honest, I let my mother know very little. Because anything you let her know, she will question you and question you and question you until it's either complete or you have some type of resolution over it. And it just gets exhausting. Sometimes I just want to say, look, I'm going to take on some of this work here for this company, and that'll get me some hours towards my my permanent my full certification, and that's it. And she'll be like a week or like 2 days later. So like, when does that start? And what do you be doing? Are you going to be going? Where is it? It's just like, I just want to do what I'm doing, and I'll let you know what I want to let you know. How's that? How's that? So between my health, which I'm not used to, not physically feeling good, and then, on top of it, not having sleep because my stomach was not doing well, and then waking up feeling like, the week's just gonna start, and it's gonna be a long one, I feel, and I'm just like, then the toilet, and I gotta deal with that, and I just had a little bit of a snapping point. It's life. It's nothing that can't be remedied. It's not anything serious, but if you could relate to those types of things, know you're not alone. I suggest writing. Really, I do. I have journals, notepads, notes in my phone, blog posts unpublished. I did publish one recently in regards to some of this, but not pertaining to any one specific person in my life. Just things like it. So if you want to take a look at that, I think it's linked in my description. Sometimes I also put it on my community tab. And this week was a rough week. I just had a little bit of a rough, not the whole week, but most of it. So I'm hoping that I start off better. Last night, yesterday I started to feel better. This morning, just made a meatloaf for dinner tonight. I did a turkey and beef combo. So we'll see, how that comes out. I think I've done it before, except just turkey. Just wanted to kind of just whatever on here. And if you have any questions, I suggest you check out some of my recent videos that have been, I'd say maybe the last few weeks. They might have a little bit more shorter content and more condensed to straight to the point. because I can go on a tangent, that might help you. And comment if you're feeling any type of way, if you have any questions on how I deal with something, or have I dealt with something. I really try not to hold back on here. I do have to be mindful, because there are people involved that don't need all their business out there, or don't want me to have all my business out there, and they're related to me or whatnot. So, you have to be careful. But there is some good content that I think could help, a lot of people. It's just I'm not really on YouTube like that, so my content isn't really going to be moving like that. And so hopefully something in this video of 46 minutes helps you. And if you made it this far, wow. If you made it this far, comment the O emoji, like, the one that goes like that. And I will see you guys in the next one. All right, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's it for now. Have a good day. If it gets bad, just start over. Take care.